Okay, so we reviewed the MacBook Pro, the M4 Max. I did that about 60 days ago. I also got the M4 base model MacBook Pro. This one in space black, this one in silver. Now, I figured, 60 days has gone on, and I think it's a good time for a follow-up video, a brief follow-up video to see where we are, how it's performed over the last 2 months as far as these two are concerned. Because, getting a review out after about a week or so is not enough to really give you, I think, an overall picture of what to expect with a product. When you use it daily, every day for 2 months, I think you can get a really good idea of what to expect. So we're gonna take a look at how the M4 MacBook Pros have held up for the last 2 months and see if it's worth buying here in early 2025. We're gonna find out about the good, the bad, and the ugly. All that and more is coming up. All right, so as far as the MacBook Pro is concerned here, I got the 16-inch here, and obviously this one is in the silver, and I got this one with the M4 Max. Now, if you're interested in the M4 Max, I don't think you necessarily have to go with the M4 Max, especially if you don't have the type of graphics requirements that I do in terms of video editing. Most people will be perfectly fine with a MacBook Pro with the M4 Pro. That is going to give you enough performance, both the CPU and the GPU performance will be very good on that. The graphics will be very good. If you need that little extra something, I think the M4 Max is certainly worth it. It is a very expensive device, but I think overall worth the price in weight here because I've gotten so many good projects out of this very quickly and efficiently, and it really doesn't even break a sweat on a lot of the type of 4K video editing I do, especially in DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. Now, the M4 model here in the space black is also very good. Although it's a more basic model, it's going to compete with the likes of, say, the MacBook Air, the M3, I guess, because we're going to get M4 sometime this year. MacBook Air will be upgraded there. But I think as far as this one is concerned, this is a pretty good one. There are a few upgrades here. You now get all the USB-C ports, a Thunderbolt 4 actually, and you're getting it in the space black. Now, the space black will show more fingerprints than the silver, and this one will definitely show a lot more smudges and stuff, but overall, they're pretty good. The good things about these MacBook Pros in general, I think we can say it for both of these, is the performance. Both the single and multi-core performance are top of the market, leading type of performance, especially single core. Doing everyday tasks on the MacBook Pros with this M4 lineup has been excellent. No hiccups, no slowdowns. And you don't have to compete with a lot of fan noise. The only time I've ever heard the fans come on these two particular units is a very rare occasion when you're pushing this really, really hard. But for 95 to 97%, I would say, of what you're going to do with these, you will not notice any fan noise. And that is a big, big win over a lot of Windows laptops, although they have gotten better with Lunar Lake and with the Snapdragon offerings. But still, these are very, very quiet laptops. They're very efficient. They don't overheat. They definitely are more efficient in that regard. The other good thing about these laptops in terms of not only performance, but in their efficiency is the battery life. These both can get you through a work day, not a problem. They have excellent results in both the 16-inch and the 14-inch. Even with the M4 Max, which is the top of the line processor, you're going to get excellent battery life, even though it's using more power, more wattage, but overall the efficiency has been phenomenal. In fact, I use a lot of these very hard each day, daily, and I am really working it, especially this 16-inch, because this one is the one I do a lot of video editing on. And this one I can get through a work day without having to plug in and then some, right? So it's been that good in terms of the battery life, as you can see from the numbers and so forth. This M4 model here has been even better in some ways. This has been really good in terms of battery life. Again, I use more basic stuff on this. I'm not doing too much video editing on this, but this is more for doing research and on the go. It's a lighter laptop. Obviously, it's going to be lighter than the 16-inch, but both are not super light. And especially when I looked at that ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 13, which was super light, under 1 kilogram, these certainly feel a lot heavier. And going from the ThinkPad to this, you're going to feel the difference in your bag. You're definitely going to notice the weight difference. So just keep that in mind. And as 16-inch goes here, it's a little bit on the heavy side, I will say that, although it is packing a lot of punch under the hood. Build quality is also another good point here. Both are excellent. Obviously, they're made of CNC machined aluminum. They are some of the best in terms of the premiumness, in terms of the build quality. They're both rock solid. I mean, what can you say? Apple is known for that, and these do not disappoint. I/O does not disappoint here. We got a full-size SD card reader on both of these, although I wish they did sit flush with the unit. They do protrude out a little bit, but that's a little nitpick, not really much of a negative. I love having especially on a 16-inch, I love having full-size SD card reader, especially as a content creator. Great I/O. Now, this one particular has Thunderbolt 5 ports, which is a little bit of a rarity still here as we are in the early stages of 2025, but having Thunderbolt 5 makes it a little bit more future-proof, and that is really good. So excellent I/O. One thing to note, there is no USB-A port on these. You will have to use a dongle for those. Again, that is a more legacy port at this point, but all the other ports are here, including the MagSafe, which certainly is welcome here. I have no problem with that. Again, you could also charge via the Type-C on both of these, so just keep that in mind. All right, let's talk displays here. Another good part is we're looking at mini LED, 14, I think, 0.2 inches, 16 inches or so here on this one. We're looking at upgrade in terms of the brightness. 600 nits is now 1000 nits standard dynamic range on both of these, and it can peak as bright as 15 to 1600 nits in outdoor use and HDR. So they bumped up the brightness on these. Now, no OLED option, which is a little bit on the bad side. Would like an OLED option. I was hoping this year we would get it. We got it with the iPad Pro. We don't get it for the MacBook Pro, at least not on the M4 version. Maybe M5, we might see something, who knows. But where a lot of these Windows laptops have moved to OLED, this one is, still using mini LED. Now, the good news is these are, like I said, bright displays. They're both excellent. They're ProMotion displays, 120 hertz refresh rate, so you're going to get that very smooth, very fluid experience. I would say that overall the displays are great. Again, I would like OLED. Now, the one negative here, the ugly part of these displays is the notch. I don't really like it. There's a couple of things going on here. To me, it's unsightly, and some people say, well, you can get rid of it by using a different wallpaper. You don't notice it, you get used to it. You know what? I really, at this point, we're in 2025, they can go with an under display, under glass, as we're going to see in some of the Lenovo laptops we're going to see this year. And there's also no IR here. So you can't log in with Face ID like you can on an iPad or an iPhone. You have to rely on the Touch ID, which is fine, but I would like an option for Face ID. We don't get it. And especially with the Windows counterparts where we can log in with Windows Hello, you don't get to do that on these. So that's a negative there. And again, having the notch here looks a little unsightly to me, but that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. As far as the webcams, I showed you in my review videos, and as you can see, it's very good. There's no problem with them as far as doing video conferencing and the like. You have the center stage, all that stuff is all there, all the bells and whistles. And again, you're paying a premium for these laptops, so we expect that, especially at these price points. Now, as far as the ugly is concerned, in addition to having the notch, we also have non-upgradability here, non-serviceability for the most part as the user. So what does that mean? Well, we looked at a lot of Windows laptops in 2024, even here in 2025, where upgradable storage is an option. So that means you can buy a minimal amount of storage, and if your changes need, as your use case scenario changes, you can always add more storage via the SSD, which is user serviceable. These are not user serviceable. They're not upgradable. The RAM, like most laptops in 2025, are unfortunately soldered in to the motherboard, not upgradable by the user. So that is another negative, something that I think should change, but it's not going to change, unfortunately. But maybe we are moving to modularity. You know, we saw with the framework laptops, I'm hearing some whispers. Other laptop manufacturers are going to start making things more modular. So maybe that might be a glimmer of hope. But right now, as it stands, no serviceability on these. So that's one of the ugly things about a MacBook Pro. And upgrading it on Apple's website is very, very expensive. They charge you an extreme amount, a big premium to go from more RAM. To get more RAM, more storage is definitely expensive. And that's where I think the Windows counterparts have a leg up over the MacBook. So just keep that in mind. So that's another ugly point of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The other thing is on these displays, no touch option. I know maybe I'm rambling a little bit, but the touch option is not there. Like I said, on the Windows counterparts, there are options for touch. We looked at the Surface Laptop 7. We looked at the Samsung Galaxy Book Pro lineup for last year. And of course, I have the Galaxy Book 5 Pro coming today. So stay tuned, that is coming. And we also have the ThinkPad X9. So those are laptops that are either consumer or business focused and have touch as an option. So I definitely think Mac should start doing that. I know they don't want to cannibalize their iPad Pro or their iPad sales, but it's maybe high time they do not only add Face ID, but add touch options as far as the displays are concerned. And again, throw in that OLED while we're at it. So there are a lot of things that are good and bad and even ugly on the MacBook Pros, but I want to know what you think in the comment section below. I think the biggest negative to me is how expensive these have gotten. Now, you can get them on sale. They do run sales. In fact, you can go to Best Buy, some of the other retail outlets where they are taking money off Amazon as well. So I will leave links for everything in the description below. Try to get the latest and least amount of price as far as these are concerned. Of course, if you do choose to buy through my link, it does support the channel. They are affiliate links and I do get a small commission. So anything helps, that is certainly appreciated. But I think price-wise, definitely you are paying a premium, especially if you want to upgrade to some of the other features, get more RAM, more storage. You are paying a big tax here. And I think that's, again, part of the ugly. All right, there's a 6-speaker sound system, the best in the business. Now, I'm going to compare it to the 16-inch, which I think is the best. But of course, the 14-inch, you can't expect it to be quite as good as the 16-inch. The chassis is just not as big as it, of course, but it is excellent for a 14-inch laptop. Still better than probably 99% of the Windows laptops out there, if not all of them. Of course, let's give it a listen. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. The good, like I said, is the performance, the battery life, the build quality, the display, everything is really good. The keyboard, I would say a little bit more neutral on that one. I would say I'm not the biggest fan of the keyboard. It's not terrible. One thing I will say that is ugly is the fact that they pick up smudges quite a bit. In fact, these are some of the worst looking keyboards after some use than I have on any of the laptops that come in here. Even the ThinkPad X1 Carbon Gen 13 in its Eclipse black color does a better job in terms of the oleophobic coating on the keys. These just seem to collect a lot of smudge, a lot of grease very quickly, and I'm wiping it down quite a bit. So that is one negative. Now, as far as the keyboard itself is concerned, it's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of the keyboards. I definitely prefer the ThinkPad keyboard, especially on that X1 Carbon. These are good. I wouldn't say they're great, but some people might swear by them. Again, it's purely subjective. That is where I think the ugly part is in terms of the smudges on the keyboard. And again, not the greatest keyboard out there. It's serviceable and it's okay. It's fine. You'll get your work done with it. Now, where they are really class leading, and I think there's no doubt about it, is the touch pads. These force pads, or whatever you want to call them, or haptic. They're nicely sized. They're very responsive. Scrolling, gestures, everything works as you'd expect on this. Excellent. Now, I will say that Windows laptops we've been seeing last year and we're going to be seeing this year, especially with the Sensile haptic touchpads. I think those are making strides and getting more and closing the gap is what I'm trying to say on these. But of course, these are still class leading as far as I'm concerned. And I think these are the best in the business. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly of these laptops from the MacBook Pro line here with the M4 and the M4 Max. Now, like I said, most people don't need the M4 Max. You can go with the M4 Pro. That would be the one that I would recommend for 95% of you. For the other 5% who need the extra horsepower graphically, go with the M4 Max. I did so because I do video editing. I'm a content creator. This M4, which is the base model, is a good deal in my opinion. And again, I would pay the extra $150 for the nano-texture display just simply because it reduces the glare and reflection. I was a little hesitant at first, but having used it for the last month plus on this one, definitely is worth the $150. So I am happy that they're not charging you an arm and a leg like they do for the iPad Pro to come with the nano-texture. Hopefully that will change, but $150 I can live with. You know, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I can definitely live with it if it's going to make my life a little bit better in terms of less glare and less reflection and being more productive, right? So I want to know what you think about the MacBook Pros. Let me know in the comment section below. I think they're good. I think the performance is fantastic. The battery life is off the charts in a lot of ways, and you're getting some nice displays. Again, there are things they need to improve. Hopefully they'll come down in price. I don't anticipate it, but you know, you can only wish. And hopefully we'll get a lot of the things improved that I talked about as far as the bad and the ugly. But the good stuff, let them keep iterating on that. I think they're doing a good job. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.